Before saying anything, yes, I do know. People are completely free to stop pursuing art, or any kind of passions, really. I have zero issues with them. In fact, this video is not trying to convince anyone, it's the only mission to continue the long agonic grind that is art. It's quite the opposite. This video is about the artists that have issues appreciating how far they have come, and sometimes they forget why they started to do art in the first place. It can happen. Yet, I think most of young artists, including me, usually end confusing for a while their own reasons to learn and practice, and that ends affecting our art drastically because it takes away its meaning from the root. I remember starting to do art because of this little story I wanted to make a book about a few years ago. It was about Martians, not a really good story, but at the time I wanted to be a writer and figured it out I could do art for it myself. Like it couldn't be hard. And one thing led to another, and I ended leaving writing as a nice hobby to do from time to time and focus it mainly on doing art. When I did realize it was late already, I was spending way more time drawing and improving my craft than writing, looking tutorials, studying, color, anatomy, shape, all of this. The typical things one does when they start to center all their life and personality around one subject alone. Or the typical things someone does when they plan to isolate their entire lives, or when they want to become the best artist ever alive to be recognized by my abilities and effort and be praised around the globe. Without a reason more than the end of the process itself, I became obsessed and I stopped enjoying art completely. I started to despise it. Like, I even started to relate with these kids on TikTok that plan to only work their teens and their 20s to hopefully retire at their 30s. It was so blank and no sense. I basically explode. Uh, I ended telling myself I will not do art ever again in my life. Time passed and a whole year gone by like really fast, and I joined a professional formation I didn't like, but I am hella good at. Like I was studying computers, I'm hella good at it, I think. But I did it without any joy or desire. Of course, I ended up exploding again because I'm like that. I'm like I need to enjoy what I'm doing. I think everyone is like that. But this time was really worse. I even had a really bad time with my mental health because of a huge spike on my OCD. So surprisingly enough, I'm here, and the reasons I am alive, aside from therapy and antidepressants, please seek help if you are doing badly. But one of these reasons has to be this odd notebook page with a little one shot I wrote with a bad handwriting when I was like 14. It was not my best one shot, alright? I recognize it. But I was astonished remembering the story while I was reading it. It's a similar feeling of like to read an old diary you used to write when you were 5, but with my crippling memory issues in the middle. The one shot even had this little drawing of a very tree you could eat and you could sustain your whole diet with it. It's the only drawing there is, yet I can remember clearly the joy of creating it and giving shape to an abstract object, not found in our reality, only in my imagination. When I was reading it again, I did grow attached to the story. It felt nostalgic and it gave me the energy to try to write again to expand that one shot into an actual well made story without any pressure, just something for fun. After all, it was my hobby years ago. I mean, I had fun doing a one shot, why couldn't I try again? I didn't realize what was happening until a few months passed by, but without releasing, I was daydreaming about drawing these characters, reflecting these abstract ideas and these scenes into the paper, all over again. Finally, I had this well needed epiphany. My reason to do art was storytelling. It is storytelling. It was so obvious in front of my face, but I couldn't see it until that given moment. It felt like finding my own yin and yang, but the yin was a really creative, craving mind, and the yang was my mom reading to me the never-ending story when I was 2 before going to bed. I felt connected again. I grabbed a pencil and paper and started drawing after 1 year and 3 months. I have to admit, it was scary. Like trying to forgive someone that hurt you, like really deep. They probably did it by error, but the scar isn't gonna disappear. But when I started drawing, these fears were gone completely. It was amazing, and my problems quite faded out for a while. It felt so natural, so fulfilling, so me, just drawing. I completely thought I could spend 8 hours a day doing it. I love it, and I was not wrong. I love it still, and I do spend quite the time, speaking of a lot of time, drawing and doing storytelling nowadays. In fact, now I'm an animation student, starting in 10 days from the release of this video. I can't be happier. This is my way, my professional path, and it feels so fucking right to study animation. And I'm a bit closer to do a living of art. A healthy living of art, not an obsessive one. So my message with this video and a little story time is for the artists that lost their reason to do. I know this doesn't apply to a lot of you, but the ones who can relate to my story, please, please, give an opportunity to art again. Not because of art and being recognized globally and being amazing artists and all that bullshit, but of the reason you wanted to start to do art, years ago probably. If you enjoyed this little monologue, consider supporting me by subscribing to the channel and liking the video. I'm not the most passionate about being famous on the internet. I consider I already have been, and I didn't like it. Yet I need to be able to reach people to share my art and my projects. Thanks for watching, hope you have a nice day and see you around. Probably I'll do more of this.